Communication Barriers, Part 2. Next, the physical barrier. Ineffective communication vehicles, such as the ones we talked about in communication channels, like emails and so on. People work from home during the pandemic. The actual physical distance is more a nuisance than an actual barrier. Or working in a hotel room where the Wi-Fi signals are poor. There are temporary inconveniences and are relatively easy to overcome. Closed office doors. There are people in management positions who prefer to keep their doors closed most of the time while they're in office. You can imagine the negative signals that it sends out to employees. Subject to judgment call, it creates a mysterious physical barrier in people's minds. It could be an innocent act on the part of the person, but speaking from experience, the unnecessary impact is very significant. Whatever happened to the maxim, "my door is always open," is worth considering. Next, multi-layer organizational structure. It is easy to understand how communication efficiency can be compromised in a multi-layer organizational structure. Furthermore, according to Dr. Aziz in his book, Corporate Life Cycles, in the late declining stage of a company's life cycle, he believed that a bureaucracy sets in before a company faces its demise. People gripped by recriminations become more obsessed with procedures than rules, than innovation and efficiency. In a multi-layered bureaucracy prevailing organization, it is almost impossible to get things done without severe delay, if it gets done at all. People in fear become extremely bureaucratic. For scientists and engineers responsible for new product development, they follow the company's rigid policy and procedures to the letters. By the time their new products come on the market, they're already lagging and outdated. It happened. All communication fell victims to bureaucracy. Next, language barrier, speaking accent. In a culturally diversified workplace, barriers due to people speaking accent is inescapable. Patience and sensibility can ease the barrier. Next, abstracting. Abstracting can be a significant barrier to communication. In the workplace, we've all experienced receiving unclear instructions from our supervisors, and when that happens, we normally just ask for clarification, and the supervisors are pleased to comply if the company's culture allows it. Nevertheless, there are corporate cultures that abstracting is a common practice, that employees rather guess at the hidden meanings of the instruction as opposed to confronting the supervisor for clarifications. The interpretations are totally up for grabs, and people tread with trepidation. The higher the position they're in, the more abstracted they may become. Maybe their ambiguities are intentional, so they can put the blame on you if you fail to deliver, or even dissociate themselves from the events that backfires. Next, semantics. Semantics is an interesting barrier. The word itself can be used as a tension breaker, like when you disagree with someone, you may say, "Oh, that's semantics." It is an act of overstretching the meaning of words to justify one's intended purposes. Lawyers and politicians are very good at it. For example, representing a liar in a courthouse, a shrewd attorney said this to a judge: "Lying is such a harsh word, Your Honor. We prefer to call it testimony without borders." It is hard to communicate with people when they use exaggerated semantics to wiggle out of a jam shamelessly. Next, faulty expressions. Misinterpretation of words and expressions occurred frequently in communication, causing frustrations. At worst, certain words and verses quoted from books, if taken too literally, to the extreme, can even be dangerous. In business, be careful when we say we guarantee 100% quality, 100% satisfaction, and so on. If I may, we should use a less definitive term to promote our products and the services. Finally, the fifth barrier, the cultural barrier. Not a difficult concept to grasp. First, religion and traditional customs. I personally run into some embarrassing moments twice when I travel in foreign countries. Even good-intentioned behavior like tickling the baby in the face in an open square, mind you, there's no pandemic yet, can be an annoyance to certain mothers. Or, matter-of-factly, squirting a good dose of alcohol-containing hand sanitizer to a Muslim store owner can be devastating. For me, it's lessons learned the hard way. Next, foreign language. We may all have experienced such awkward moments when we first met people from a different culture or languages that we're not familiar with. But in our company, we manage just fine in a culturally diversified workplace. Sometimes in a group meeting, we speak English with translations in relay to 2 or 3 other languages. Nowadays, handheld translators come in handy. Last but not least, unhealthy corporate cultures. We've just mentioned the importance of corporate cultures. This is a profound topic worthy of a group discussion. Corporate cultures, generally speaking, dictate how effective the communication is conducted within the company. When communication completely breaks down, good employee long gone, and bureaucracy dominates in the workplace, the company is left with a bunch of dead woods who know how to play the game in order to survive. They usually consume more than they contribute to the company they serve. There are what I consider 5 pillars to a successful corporate management. They are people and leadership, teamwork, continuous improvement, effective communication, and pillar of all pillars, trust and respect. If the CEO of a corporation sets the vision right and the goals practical, lead by example, and follow it through, then there won't be any communication barriers. People can work together as a team and strive for the common objectives. How can we overcome these barriers? This is where the Pellet Way comes in. It is the tips for effective communication and negotiation. Now we've covered the communication basics. If anything, they should pave the way to what I'm going to cover next, the Pellet Way. This is Peter Chang. Thanks for watching. Keep on communicating effectively.